In the heart of the Prado Museum in Madrid hangs one of the most enigmatic and fascinating masterpieces of Western art, The Garden of Earthly Delights by Hieronymus Bosch. Painted around the year 1500, this triptych continues to captivate viewers with its surreal imagery, vivid symbolism, and cryptic narrative. Considered the most ambitious and celebrated work of Bosch, The Garden of Earthly Delights defies easy interpretation and has inspired centuries of analysis, speculation, and wonder. Hieronymus Bosch, born Hieronymus van Aken around 1450 in s-Hertogenbosch, a town in the Duchy of Brabant, today's Netherlands, was a painter whose visions stood apart from the more restrained artistic trends of the Northern Renaissance. Little is known about Bosch's life, but he was a member of the Brotherhood of Our Lady, a lay religious group, and lived in a time marked by intense religious fervor, moral anxiety, and an obsession with sin and redemption. Bosch's works reflect these themes with an intensity unmatched by his contemporaries. His style combined meticulous detail with fantastical, dreamlike images that seem to anticipate the surrealist movements of centuries later. The Garden of Earthly Delights is structured as a triptych, a three-paneled painting that closes like a book. When closed, the outer panels depict a monochrome image of the earth during creation, rendered in grisaille tones. This outer image shows God, portrayed in a tiny circle in the upper left, creating the world. It is a stark and restrained contrast to the explosion of color and activity that awaits when the panels are opened. The interior of the triptych is where Bosch's genius fully unfolds. The left panel depicts the Garden of Eden, where God presents Eve to Adam under the watchful eye of strange hybrid creatures. A fantastic fountain-like structure rises in the background, surrounded by otherworldly architecture and an array of surreal animals, some real, others entirely imagined. The harmony of creation is underscored by an eerie sense of artificiality, as if foreshadowing the collapse of innocence. The central panel is the most famous and puzzling. Known as the Garden of Earthly Delights, it portrays a lush, fantastical landscape teeming with nude human figures engaged in a vast array of sensual pleasures. The scene is saturated with symbolic fruit, birds, fish, and peculiar structures, many of them referencing fertility, temptation, and carnal delight. Figures cavort in pools of water, ride on animals, and indulge in earthly pleasures without inhibition. Despite the joyful and playful atmosphere, there is a haunting undertone to the scene. Unlike traditional depictions of paradise, this garden feels ephemeral and unstable, as if it is on the verge of falling apart. Scholars believe Bosch may be illustrating humanity's descent into sin, disguised under the guise of pleasure and beauty. The lack of divine presence in the central panel suggests that this world is one in which man has embraced his own desires above all else. The right panel brings the inevitable consequence of such indulgence. It presents a nightmarish vision of hell, rendered in terrifying detail. This infernal landscape is engulfed in darkness and fire, filled with tortured souls undergoing bizarre and grotesque punishments. Musical instruments, symbols of earthly pleasure, are transformed into tools of torture. A massive cracked egg with a human face, sometimes referred to as the Tree Man, possibly a self-portrait of Bosch, looms over the scene. The imaginative horrors depicted reflect not only medieval fears of damnation, but also a unique artistic vision of psychological torment and moral chaos. Bosch's hell is a chaotic and surreal realm, populated by demons, monstrous hybrids, and machines of unknown purpose, all contributing to an overwhelming sense of despair. What makes the Garden of Earthly Delights particularly remarkable is its ambiguity. Unlike many religious works of its time, which offered clear moral messages, Bosch's triptych resists straightforward interpretation. Is it a moral warning against lust and temptation? A satire of human folly? Or perhaps an exploration of a world without divine order? The painting's rich and enigmatic iconography has led to numerous interpretations: religious, alchemical, psychoanalytic, and even psychedelic. Some scholars argue that the central panel represents a utopian dream of lost innocence, while others insist it is a depiction of moral corruption destined to bring about doom. The context in which Bosch worked also plays a role in understanding the painting. The late 15th and early 16th centuries were times of significant social and religious tension in Europe. The Protestant Reformation was about to erupt, challenging the authority of the Catholic Church. At the same time, there was a strong current of millenarian anxiety, a belief that the end of the world was near. Bosch's works reflect these anxieties, depicting a world full of moral ambiguity, danger, and unseen spiritual battles. Despite the painting's fame today, it was not widely known for centuries. It first appears in historical records in the early 16th century as part of the collection of Henry III of Nassau, a nobleman from the Habsburg Netherlands. Later, it became part of the Spanish royal collection and eventually made its way to the Museo del Prado, where it remains today, drawing countless visitors who marvel at its beauty and mystery. The Garden of Earthly Delights is more than just a painting. It is a visionary portal into the hopes, fears, and contradictions of the human soul. Through its rich symbolism and surreal imagery, Bosch invites us to contemplate the nature of temptation, the fragility of innocence, and the terrifying consequences of human excess. It stands as a testament to the power of imagination and remains, 5 centuries later, one of the most compelling and confounding works of art in history.